people that are deeply invested in the young creative minds of, well, our young people all over the globe. Well, my guest, Charissa, is a owner of a couple of music schools in Burbank. But one of the reasons I wanted her to come on the show today was because she's having a huge event at the end of the month that you just might be interested in being a part of. If you're that young superstar that's always wanted to get, Star Search, maybe that's before your time. American Idol, I got you this time. You know what? If you've always wanted to see if you had that it factor, or if you know that you have that it factor, this just might be the show that you don't want to touch that dial on. What's up, Charissa? Got my fabulous co-host Daniel Fisher in the house. Supermodel to the stars. What's up? How you guys doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh man, this is just, I talked to Daniel earlier and I was fortunate enough for him to be in town with us and have some fun. And I said, okay, superstar woman, music industry, and actually, Daniel, you're about to host a big event, or you want on the panel for a big music.
Yeah, we have a UNG radio station is doing a big hip hop music board, pretty much. And basically, what we're doing is a big discussion about how the industry and how much it has changed, and what kind of what's going on now. Because like a lot of people, if you're around for like the big hip hop boom and stuff like that, and then even like the soul music before that, and the off and on, it's like music has changed. Of course, over time, it's constantly changing. But it's like one of those things, some people like remember the old days and they like it versus a lot of the new music.
And then he looks over at me.
What are you looking at?
He looks over at me. Some people remember like old days and he looks right over at me. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thanks a whole. But no, I mean, music is taken, it's changed a lot. My son's in the industry, and shout out to Max Wonders. I love you so much. Tomorrow's his 19th birthday. He's got written up in Fader magazine. And Pigeons and Planes.
Phenomenal music, though. For especially a young guy because I listen to his music, and for a young guy to come in, especially with this new class that's coming out with this mushmouth rap music that they call it, basically.
Yeah.
And to hear him, it's like, thank you. We have somebody that's going to come
profanity
and help, rebuild hip hop.
Nice.
Yeah,
I guess I am very family friendly with everything that we do, because we mostly work with elementary age kids. So and when you talk about traditional music, that's a lot of our repertoire. But you have to leave it up to the 9-year-olds to let me know like what just came out 2 weeks ago, because a lot of times they're the ones that know more than me.
So they're like 2 years younger than you. Like you look like you're all
like
50.
Thank you.
I'm like, wait a minute. She walks in the door. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, how old is this? Like,
you have
two what?
I'm 35, so I've been around for a little while. I just wear a lot of sunscreen.
What creams are you using? Sign me
My
up
mom
for that
said we all broke out a lot when we were in high school. And she's like, well, honey, because we have oily skin, you're going to be thanking me later. So
wow. So tell us a little bit about, you have 2 schools in Burbank right now. Tell us about that. How'd that get started?
Yeah, well, I actually came to LA as an actress, and I've always been a musician, had a music degree, and my mom's a music teacher. Wonderful. And she had gotten me started as a singer and a pianist when I was 4. So I've been doing it my whole life, but I wanted to be in the acting world, and so I was waitressing. And this is
of course, that's how you got started.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in the acting world.
I was like, this is an awful
She's Mary
job.
Jane from Spider-Man. You guys didn't see that?
Yeah, I get that. I've gotten that before. And I was like, well, this is not working for me. And so I started teaching instead, because I think I needed a little push to be self-employed, because it takes a lot to manage yourself. But I hated waitressing so much that I did, and I fell in love with teaching, and then became very passionate about it and started to identify with it as far as like, this is my thing. I'm a music educator, And then after about 6 years, I started the Music Junction, started bringing other teachers.
Just to interject, I'm sorry. So your mother was in the music business?
She was a music teacher in Minnesota, so she was an opera singer.
Oh my God. Wow.
And a teacher of like 60 students a week in her home. So she said that her earliest memories of me singing was walking down the stairs during one of her lessons, naked, singing "Jesus Loves Me." So,
oh, you were naked?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I was naked.
That's quite a memory.
Yeah.
Walking down, my daughter's naked, singing "Jesus Loves Me."
She loves music, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I was in like every single music group in high school, and we had a really strong music program in Minnesota. So I was in like band, marching band, pep band, jazz band, jazz choir, show choir. I was doing the dancing, singing thing, and orchestra, playing the 1812 Overture on my clarinet. Yes. So I've always been in music, and then it just became I realized that one of my life purposes was to create to facilitate other people being able to learn music the way that I was able to.
Was it natural for you? I mean, was it as far as playing an instrument? Because so many young people, I see them, because I mentor a lot of the schools, and they just pick up an instrument and they play. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, no lessons, no anything, you just play. Was it like that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you learn one instrument, it's easier to play another. So there's
Sure.
that aspect. But also, when you start kids in lessons when they're 4 or 5, then it gets integrated into their brain development.
Sure.
So something that I'm really passionate about is trying to raise awareness about how important it is to expose kids to music, because it enhances their brain in ways beyond just making them better musicians.
Yes.
They're also able to, it increases the audio portion of their brain, which means that it's easier for them to write, read, understand language, and speak. So everything about that they do in education is enhanced. They're like supercharged.
Absolutely.
Because of this music education. So
When I was coming up, and I don't know, I mean, I know you guys are both younger than me, but when I was coming up, for me, like, we did everything kind of with, and I still do, like, now, like, I turn on music to kind of get me jump started in the morning. And so even in school, like, every school that was anywhere around had a band. I was in the marching band, and it was inspirational. It gave us something. It gave us purpose. You know, of course, we loved all the academics and all that, but it was something different. Daniel, did you play a musical instrument?
No, that's why I was horrible at writing, reading, whatever.
Dang.
I was just thinking like,
I'm glad you were hands
I guess
up.
that's why.
my brother played the trumpet. And so he was like the star athlete, you know, he did pretty much everything, smart kid in
You
school.
got all the girls too, didn't
was
you?
he good? Because those trumpet players, if they're bad, you could hear it.
No, like he was good because he was doing it for a couple years, and then he faded away from it, you know. But yeah, that is true. Yeah, when you're bad, yeah,
Always
you're
the
bad.
preppy guys that play trumpet. I'm sorry, if
Yeah.
you were in a band geek like me, you don't know that.
You're playing trumpet.
Preppy guys, yeah. And you're like, oh, you didn't practice, huh? Well, we all heard it.
What's the age group for your school?
It's, you know, we started, yeah, thank you. We started as early as age 4, and then we go all the way up to all ages, but mostly it's elementary age. Like most of my beginners are between 4 and 8 or 9.
You teach adults?
Yeah, we do teach adults. Adults can learn.
Look,
It's never too late. It's never too late.
look.
Yes. So if
baby
you want to be a
grand.
student.
Yeah, I want to be a student.
Okay, we'll work something out.
Let's work it
You know, I did
out.
have an adult student because I taught for 9 years. I just stopped a year
Piano?
ago. Piano and singing.
Yeah.
And I had an adult
Both
student.
of the things I want to do.
Yes, okay. Oh, we're going to talk about this then. Yeah.
Let's work it out.
Yeah, okay, because there's a lot, and people think it's all natural, you have to have natural talent, and really it's a skill that you can learn, and I think it's, like, we have this kind of ego about
What
it,
are you
like,
trying
oh,
to
you
say?
can or you can't.
She said people think you can have natural talent. Then she looks at me again like, I'm getting thrown under the bus here. Oh, you know the old school things that happen. And he looks at me. People think you need to have natural talent, but you don't. She looks at me like, my son, come on. I thought this was girl power.
You know
honey."
what? Yeah. Okay. So you
all
can
right,
you can support that people can learn music. Can you support that with me?
Yeah.
Then you can be on my side.
High
All right.
five,
Thank
okay,
you.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, really, like, people give each other a hard time when they're singing if they don't sound like they're on the radio.
Right.
And like that's a really high bar for us to all have to hit to enjoy singing.
Yes.
And singing is like our divine right to music, because
Yes.
that's what our body can do. That's our body being the instrument.
Right.
So for us to like give each other, like, make fun of each other when we try to sing, I feel like it, you know. So like one thing I think is really important is for us to all support each other in creating music, and we do that by providing a education.
Yes.
So we have adult beginners that can't sing that learn.
He looks at me again. Thank you. Thank you. I'm starting to wonder about this one. So what's exciting? Okay, first of all, Peggy Blue, who introduced me
Yeah.
to the amazingness that you're doing, is one of my dearest friends. And Peggy, who was a winner of Star Search,
Yeah.
Just incredible woman,
She's
voice like an
amazing.
angel.
Yeah.
Just incredible. You met Peggy, correct? You met Peggy Blue, obviously. And
She's so powerful.
God, she's
She just
powerful.
holds the energy.
She really does. But Peggy is amazing. And old school singer, just
Yeah,
her
gospel
whole
background.
gospel, just her background is so strong. She knows everybody. She's done everything. Sometimes I'll take her somewhere and then we'll go somewhere together and it's like, she's like, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. I'm like, girl, I'm not taking you anywhere anymore because I don't want to go anywhere with you because you just know everything and nothing's new. So tell me about this project that you have because that's so incredible.
Yeah, and we're so lucky to have Peggy on as a judge for this event. So it's called Burbank Singing Star, and this is the inaugural year. And my school is producing it in conjunction with the Kiwanis Club of Burbank. So it's all for charity. Our beneficiary is the YMCA, the Burbank YMCA. They have this program called Learn, Grow, Thrive. That's for kids that can't afford summer camp to come to camp every summer. And those kids normally get behind every year until they're a year behind the other kids because they're not doing any programs during the summer, and so they're not getting any review. And so this creates an opportunity for them to go and have camp and keep up.
So you mean during the summer they get a year behind?
Yeah, it's called the achievement gap that it closes by these summer camps, and they're completely free to these disadvantaged families in Burbank. And once it's fully funded, it's going to close the illiteracy gap in Burbank. So it eliminates the problem.
My son actually attended, and I think I mentioned this to you on the phone, but it wasn't that program because I was paying for him to go.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful program at the Y in Burbank because we lived in Burbank on Whitnell Highway, 615 North Whitnell, in a great building over there. And he went to Roosevelt Elementary School, and this was back obviously when he was in elementary school at 5 years old. And I remember that Y being great. They had a swimming program that he attended there. I think we went off location for him to take the swimming class. I think they bused them somewhere for the swimming, but he definitely took swimming at that Y in Burbank because it's close to the IKEA, right?
It is, yeah, and it's funny you say that because Mary Catone, the president of the YMCA, was telling me that some of these kids that go in these Learn, Grow, Thrive programs, they're swimming for the first time.
Yeah, well, my son was a part of the swimming program at that Y. That's why when you mentioned it, I go, okay, this is all, there's a reason behind all this. And Peggy was super excited. And so they're going to have the opportunity, they're going to be competing to see if they're going to win. Yes. So it's like a Star Search kind of a thing, right?
It is, just like American Idol or The Voice or Star Search, where we're having, right now, kids can audition between the ages of 4 and 12 by making a 30-second video of them singing, just on an iPhone, and then upload it.
I can get it.
Can you?
I'm gonna shave this beard off.
I'm
look like 12.
Yeah, can you play 12?
I shaved this beard off.
You probably could.
You can play 12, right? Yeah, just don't show the muscles, don't show the tattoos, but you can do it.
I know, yeah, there's so many people that want to, it's funny when we create this kind of event, there's so many people that want to be involved and want to shine, and we're really limiting it to the elementary age because that's an age that my school supports, that's an age that this program at the YMCA is supporting. So we're kind of like, it's for kids, by kids, for kids, It's like these kids supporting other kids.
Because it's that age group is very important because of the development of a child. And I think it's really good that what you're doing, especially for these programs, because, where I'm back from Seattle, and I remember certain areas we went to that didn't have programs.
Yes.
And when our neighborhood actually got a program, like my parents signed me up right away. Because one, it gives the parent a break. They can kind of do whatever they want. They can go grocery shopping without dragging their kids around. But then it's the development. It's the development of the child too. Because a lot of these inner city schools, especially a lot of these schools nowadays, are starting to lose a lot of these programs. The music programs are gone. The sports programs you have to pay for now, and a lot of families don't have money for that.
We lost 52 schools in Chicago last year that were closed down. That were predominantly inner city schools, and prior to the schools closing, they had taken like all the music and all the phys ed, all the
first thing to go.
The sports and everything were all. I was at an event last night. Actually, was a bipartisan event that was at one of the larger estates in Beverly Hills, and I asked some of the dignitaries that were there because there was quite a few affluent people that were there, and I was doing red carpet interviewing, and I said, why is it that the first thing to be taken out, the money to be taken away, is from the educational fund? And unanimously everyone said, because no one fights for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't say we say, but there's a vote that says let's take $20 billion out of the educational fund, and everyone goes, okay, next. And I said, they go, no, we just go next and go right to the next part of the agenda.
And that's why you need music advocates, or you need arts advocates.
Yes.
And at the Music Junction, we have a lot of families that are paying for these extracurriculars. So we have like 250 students there and 14 teachers, and we're growing in Burbank. But these people are paying for this extracurricular. It's not part of their education system. But the nice thing is, that's one reason why I wanted to create Burbank Singing Star, was to start to advocate for access for outside of these, extracurricular things that families have to afford.
Sure.
Create free activities and charity events that are giving back and also supporting the arts.
So this is a free event for them to participate in.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally free for everyone to participate in, and there's a whole online piece to it, so they can make these videos, they can share them on Facebook and YouTube, and so they can showcase themselves online. And any of the kids can do that, and it's not just Burbank, it's open to all of Southern California California.
Okay.
So it's just kind of really creating this activity for everyone to get involved in. And there's so many kids that want to be heard.
Sure.
And, to have a chance for everyone to stop talking and listen to their little voices is really special for them, I think.
Are they singing only? Is
well,
it singing?
that's what this is only going to be singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are no instruments. It's all singing.
It's all singing, just like American Idol. So it's just going to be.
Because I know with Idol sometimes they have singing and then they have instruments that they play and all that, don't they?
Well, we haven't picked the finalists yet. If any of them are good guitar and vocals or piano and vocals, then we might try to set that up.
Okay.
If they want to accompany themselves.
Because I have seen that on Idol where they're, the guitarist is up there and they're, singing and all that. I'm not going to,
Yeah, I mean, and that's really nice when we have live music and they want to accompany. And that's why we teach piano and voice and guitar at the Music Junction. Because it's like you can play piano and sing, you can play guitar and sing, so they all work together really nicely. And I think that they'll mostly will be supporting singing this year. But, the Burbank Arts for All in Burbank is a huge, like when you talk about advocating for music, that's a huge program.
Burbank
Trina
Arts for
over there is, supporting. So and there's a lot of people in Burbank that are really advocating for the arts, and they all go to these meetings.
Wow.
And the Arts for All is like a certain amount of money that's commissioned to support arts activities, and so they're there to like make sure that there's a music teacher in the elementary schools, and that there's band programs that go all the way to 5th grade.
Wow.
Or 4th grade, because really you're supposed to start band instruments in 4th grade. And then go all the way through high school. And there's all these.
That's what we did. I was in marching band. I loved it.
Yeah, right.
And they gave me identity. This is Suicide Prevention Month. And so shout out to you for that wonderful video that you did earlier that I saw that was online. I thought it was amazing. It was one of my favorite. Daniel does a video, Motivation Mondays, and he also incorporates it throughout the week. And he adds, but today he did a video, or I don't know if he did it last night, but it was one that stuck out because I'm also doing an event with No One's Left Alone, with Martha Lacroix, who's a huge vocalist around, and it's about suicide prevention. And so my reason for mentioning that also is that music is such a motivator.
Yeah.
And so many people are motivated, so many young people are motivated. We don't talk about suicide or anything like that, just like we brush a lot of things to the side, just like we brush the need for music in our schools to the side, and the physical education to the side. When I was a kid, we had home ec and wood shop, and I'm really dating myself, but we brush those things. But those are the things that prevent things that you think, oh no, suicide, no. Well,
because they're enriching.
Exactly.
They're making their life more full and sparkly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And when you look at the studies on music, when they take it out of the schools, like a lot of kids, their music teacher is their favorite teacher. If they had to choose. And when there is music teachers in the schools, the other teachers perform better. That's what the statistics say.
Because other teachers perform better?
Yeah, because they're being inspired by having that as part of their
But if they all have red hair like yours, they really perform. My teacher had red hair like that, I'd be like, she rocks, she rocks, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to make that a requirement.
Oh yeah,
but it's funny you talk about writing music, because one of our grand prizes is going to be a recording studio session, and one of our teachers is going to do songwriting coaching, because we want our Burbank Singing Star 2016 to write a song. So whoever that is, and it could be between the age of 4 and 12, we want them to be coached into writing a song that expresses, from their perspective.
And that's going to be a #1 hit.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it will in Burbank. Burbank is
out of the mouth of
supporting for
babes. I mean, out of the mouth, they because they only know how to articulate sincerely what's in their hearts. We have all this manufactured thinking in our heads, and we're like, what do we think someone wants us to say, or what do we think we should? Well, kids just speak it honestly. They sing it honestly. They write honestly, and that's what's amazing. I have a program over at Crenshaw High School with Dr. Ira Stevenson, and to go back to what you mentioned about the music teacher being one of the most loved teachers in the school, and the school has a lot of students that are challenged there at that school, and I've been mentoring there. I was with the school from 2010 to 2013, then I moved back to Chicago for a year, then I came back, and these kids love her. And she actually houses my youth program, Today's Youth Talking, there, and we've got maybe I would say about 500 students have come through my program there. Hollywood High also, Bancroft Performing Arts School, and some other schools that we've done some things with the Today's Youth Talking. It's a media program that teaches them how to do radio and television shows in their own voice. But with Dr. Ira Stevenson, they love her. And also like the whole celebrity groups rallies around her, and they love her because she cares about these kids. She's taken them to China to perform. They've done all kind of, with the Philharmonic, LA Live they've done here. She's taken them to New York to do all kind of major things. These are kids that have never been outside their neighborhood.
Wow. That's so
I love what you're doing is my point. I mentioned that because
Yeah.
I thought what stuck out to me and why I really wanted you on the show when I spoke to Daniel about it, we all know I was raised by a single mom, and then my mother got married later. I have a great stepfather, shout out to him, he's in heaven now also, but with my mom but I remember there was no silver spoon in my mouth, so I remember, when I did have clarinet lessons outside of school, my mother worked an extra couple hours for that, or my stepdad did an extra whatever, he owned a business. And so I remember, and, Daniel and I were talking about different things, he said, well, yeah, Davi, I remembered, different things as well with his dad, you lost your mom at a young age.
Yeah.
And so his dad being, but just his dad being a very powerful man that made sure his kids still had the things that they needed. Awesome. So, and the program that you have is working with a lot of kids that might not have the opportunity if you didn't present this.
Well, and it's beautiful how much these kids' parents support their studies, because the kids don't always know that in 15 years they're going to be so happy that they took some piano lessons.
Yes.
They don't get exactly why they're doing it sometimes, and we try to do everything we can do to entertain them and keep them engaged and make it fun, but still you're learning something.
Yes.
You have to commit to it, and these parents, they take their kids in every week. A lot of them sit and practice with them every day. It's really amazing. I had a 4-year-old whose mom sat with him every day for 7 days, and they did that for the 8 years that I taught him. And he is an amazing pianist now, but the amount of dedication that this mother put in is just beautiful.
So she was with you the entire time he was?
She was with him every day practicing.
Oh,
she was sitting with him every day practicing for 30 minutes. He always, on his practice chart, was 7 days, 30 minutes. I always gave him the biggest sticker. But to see that,
work.
and I guess I have to be happy that I'm able to create a place for people to do that at.
Sure.
And to do all these extra things, like you're saying, doing field trips and things. That takes a lot of time to go outside of your structure of just having a lesson or just teaching a class and be like, well, I think we should do this performance.
I think we're going to go to China.
Yeah, it takes a lot. And so for me, it just was, the point was, happened because I got to the place where the Music Junction got big enough that I said goodbye to my personal studio of students, and I said, I want to be more just the leader of this school. Yes. And that's how Burbank Singing Star happened, because if that, I've been working like a full-time job the last 2 months on Burbank Singing Star to produce that, because it's all, I'm the committee member of the Kiwanis Club of Burbank who's producing. It's my idea, and I was going to do it by myself. And then I've been a member of the Kiwanis Club of Burbank, and they do great, amazing community service. They're so amazing. And one of my friends that's in it was like, you should ask Kiwanis if they could give you a committee. And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, you trying to do this all by yourself? And I was like, yep. And she's like, no, I think we should try to get a committee. So I asked, and they were like, sure, And then eventually I went to the board, and I asked if they would let us, do it all through their 501c3 and really be a full producer with me. And they did a vote, and it was unanimous. Oh, good. They were in such support. The leader of the foundation, or the head of the foundation, I forget what his title is, he said that he would get us $1,000 seed money to start, and he said, if I can't get the board to approve it, then I'll put in my own money. If they put in $1, I'll put in $999 to get you started with this, because that's how much I believe in this project. Wow. And it just made me want to cry to be able to have that much support.
You like that.
Because I think that they saw the value of creating this charity singing contest, that this is the inaugural year, but we're going to do this every year, and I think it's going to be so much fun for Burbank and a great way to raise money for charity and just and do so many fun things, like the fact that I can come on the show with you.
Yes. Do you have any children?
I don't, no, but I want to.
Okay.
I'm 35, so I still have a few years.
Absolutely.
But I love kids, and I worked with as young as age 4.
And you have children. Honestly,
I call them my kids.
Exactly. You have kids within. Ironically enough, Dr. Ira Stevenson doesn't have any children, and I said, how did you get away with that? And she said, well, honestly, Davi, I've been so deeply involved in the music world with my young people that, and she's married, and she said, I had these kids, and these were my kids. And so she said, I never felt for one second that I went without anything.
Well, and I feel like probably a lot of career women would feel like I do, where it just feels like it's hard to stop and just
Sure.
take the time that you would want if you're someone that likes to do things well and really
Yes.
do it right.
I'm still in
the
shock
time
about
that
that.
you
I
would
had
need
one.
to
I was
take.
like, so they said, I'm what? I was like, okay, so with the doctor, like, okay, well, you say I'm what now? And my son's father and I were together, and I go, so you, what did he say again? You're pregnant. I go, that wasn't the plan. I was like, I was a businesswoman. I mean, I never, but it was, it was great, and it wasn't.
Well, you're always a little happy you did, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Always
Oh
happy
my
you did, 'cause
God.
it contributes so much.
Yeah,
to
and
your
my
life.
son is really extravagant. He's in the music industry heavily. Daniel knows him. He's heavy in the business, and he's also a mentor to younger people. So he's, who travels in the business, travels around the world, performed at a huge fest all over, South by Southwest, performed there, he crowd surfs and all that stuff. And again, it's like none of it is, it's all in a positive manner. And so like he's leaving for London, and he's got these, it's constantly people are contacting. But my point for mentioning him, well, first of all, his birthday's tomorrow. So shout out, he'll be 19. I love you, son.
Happy
I know you're
birthday.
tuning in right now. And I'm having labor pains. I'm in labor. It's just that I've always encouraged him. He plays the violin beautifully to this day. He's been playing violin since he was 3-4 years old. My grandfather was a violinist. My grandmother is a concert pianist. She's 100 years old and still plays the piano beautifully.
Wow.
And so, those things are so important. And so, Daniel, you've been a little silent over there. I know you
I'm
do
sorry.
you're
I'm
doing
just,
your
like,
model
taking it
look.
in.
He's like this.
He can talk about.
No, I'm just taking it because I think it's just so very important because every time I go back home, because I have more access to the schools there because I grew up there, and so I always go back and talk to the kids. And like I say, for these programs for kids to have access to them, I just think it's amazing.
Yes.
Because I remember my childhood. We had them here and there, and then we were in the wave where they started to disappear, and then when you started to have to pay for them, these massive amounts. I came from a family where we really didn't have money for anything, so.
Me too.
But for opportunities like this, especially for young kids to really just get in there, because one thing like you said, the age group from 4 to 12, it's like what a lot of people do is they put these like singing competitions out, and it's like any age group, and then the younger kids get pushed aside, and so. It's good for them to have something like this for their specific age group because there's so many other programs out there for more of the adult age for people to get into.
Wow.
You're totally right. And there's some really amazing singers at that age group, but they don't sound like how they're going to sound when they're older. So when you get the teenagers involved in the contest, you're really just getting them to sound like adults. So it's really just an adult contest.
Exactly.
So when you go into that age range, you're getting the young voices. And
How do we get the viewer? Because it's amazing. When you have a great time, the show goes by fast.
Yeah.
We've got 30 seconds left. How does the viewer get in touch with you?
Well, they need to go to themusicjunction.com and then click on Burbank Singing Star. And it's happening Friday, September 30th at 6 p.m. at Castaway in Burbank, which is this beautiful restaurant in their Starlight Ballroom.
We'll be out there too, guys. For anybody that's tuning in right now, you're tuning in to Davi Davenport Live. We'd love you. We get a wide shot of all of us together to close the show off, guys. There you go. For anybody that's tuning in right now, we love you so much. Thanks for tuning in to Davi Davenport Live. You heard it right here. You can go to the website, DaviDavenportLive.com, to get more information on how you can become a Burbank superstar. See ya.